Hi, welcome to a really funky game of TFT that I wanted to share with you. I decided to go onto the PBE and I wanted to test the new Legionnaire and see how it worked out. Could not get into a hyper roll game on the PBE, so I decided to just play a normal match. As I pick up Atrox and I'm getting ready to go, at this moment my kid runs into the room. He has an emergency, and as anyone knows, the kid comes before a random game of TFT, so I am now AFK, and I'm going to speed you through the rest of the time that I'm AFK. But during that speed through, let me tell you what this channel is about. It's called Mission4Tution because we are trying to raise money for our son's middle and high school tuition. We do not take donations. We don't even have a link for it. We make all of the money through views on the videos. If you can hit a like on this video, if you like this video, please hit like on this video, because then YouTube will share it with more people and it will get more views. More views equals more revenue for tuition and also the ability to make more videos, because ultimately if this is not making enough money, then we're going to have to stop doing it. But as you can see now, the emergency has passed and I'm back at the computer and staring at it, and I had actually forgotten completely that I had even started a match. So I begin with 50 health and no concept of where I am or what I did or how much I just missed out on because I lost a lot of NPC rounds. I guess they felt bad for me and gave me a nice little golden globe of happiness, which had some thieves' gloves in it, which are decent, but are probably not going to make up for the mess that I've made by sitting AFK for the first 50 health and the first several rounds of the game. I just start rolling and leveling up to try to get as many Legionnaires as possible and put them out, because my goal was to see what the Legionnaire buff was like in this new patch. Just in case you don't know, they're changing it, or they have changed it by now, to be attack speed plus lifesteal on every single hit, instead of the old way of it being just lifesteal after your first ability. I'm able to get up to 5 Legionnaires, but I'd really like to get to that 6th, but that's going to be difficult. I decide to put the Hand of Justice onto Atrox because he started with a sparring glove from the very first carousel. I roll down because at this point, gold doesn't really mean that much. Econing's not going to help. I'm at 26 health and I need to get moving. And I'm lucky enough to find a Draven, so I have a chance at least to get up to 6 Legionnaires. By some miracle, I actually win that, and then because I'm way down at the bottom, I get first choice and I grab a recursive bow off the carousel because I want to put a Rage Blade onto Yasuo. Since he's already getting attack speed from the Legionnaire buff, I want to increase that even more, and he's my strongest 2-star unit. I finally put Atrox up to the front, throw the Thieves' Gloves onto Riven, and I'm thinking if I can just get through to the Radiant item, I might actually have a chance of not being last in this match. So I win this, surprisingly enough, and then the Radiant items come up, and I was hoping for a Rapid Fire Cannon, a Luminous Death Blade, Bloodthirst or something. I end up just grabbing the Rabadon's Death Cap and decide, you know what, I want to see what this does for Yasuo. So originally he was doing 385 on each ult. Now it's 805, and at mid-game, this should be pretty devastating. Since Yasuo's damage stacks after each ult, I expect to see him shred things early and often, and I am not disappointed as he pretty quickly starts tearing things apart and just crawls through their entire team into their backline, and with that extra lifesteal in the new Legionnaire, it works out surprisingly well. The one item I'm really looking for here is a sparring glove, and it pops right out of a globe, and now I can also put a Hand of Justice onto Yasuo. And I think I'm actually going to crawl my way out of the basement in this game, which I didn't think was possible when I came back to 50 health and having missed as much as I missed. I decide to make use of the Reforger and take the Dragon's Claw and turn it into a Zephyr. Yeah, Rito's trying really hard to make this as painful as possible, but I'm not giving up. I'm gonna let it keep going, and you can see those Yasuo ults are just completely devastating when they land. And now I'm suddenly on a 4-game win streak. I level up one more time to put out Diana just to trigger the Nightbringer buff onto Yasuo, because just in case he starts getting low, he'll give him a shield, and that will then allow the healing from the new Legionnaire buff to bring him back up to full health while the shield wears off. But you can see with 6 Legionnaires, this is working surprisingly well. Yasuo is doing a lot of damage, and I have a feeling that if I can get that Draven in the corner itemized properly, this can do even better, although it's still winning and winning solidly. But I'm still down at the bottom of the pack, which is good because my Dango has grown larger and it has to waddle over to grab that sword, but at least I get an early chance, and that gives me the opportunity to put an Infinity Edge on Draven, starting the itemization process. At this point, I'm trying not to roll because I actually see the light at the end of this tunnel, and I'm going to want to save up enough gold to get myself to 8 so that I have the ability to get a silver 2-star Draven, because that's what I'm going to need. I'm going to lock here for the Yasuo, so that will give me 2 2-star Yasuos, which means I will be 3 Yasuos away from potentially getting gold. And now I'm starting to surprise myself with this entire match, because again, it's not just that I'm winning these matches after sitting AFK for that long, it's I'm winning them with so many characters left. It's time to roll completely down and see what I can get, and I'm really looking for that 2-star Draven, or maybe the 3-star Yasuo, or really anything I can get that's going to make this as strong as possible. Since Heimer's a really powerful unit, despite the fact that he does not fit in this build at all, I go with him with little time left and hope that he can keep the win streak going. But even though Heimer is really strong, it seems that when you put him in some place that he's not really wanting to be, he's just going to take your entire team down with him, and with that, my giant Dango has shrunk down to size. So goodbye Heimer, you shrank my Dango for the last time, and now we roll to find a replacement. We find a second Draven, and then there's a Viego, and Viego will serve a couple of purposes here. He's going to trigger 2 buffs. Number 1, the Assassin buff for Diana. Number 2, the Forgotten buff for Draven, although that will increase more as they win together. We roll a few more times and find ourselves a silver 2-star Draven hanging out, but we have to lock for it and hope to get through this round. Although at this point, with the way this team has been performing, even if we lose, I don't think we're going to lose bad enough to be knocked out. But again, look how many characters are left on the screen at the end. Now we're able to get up to that silver Draven, and that there is the last Yasuo we need, so we lock for it, since we managed to get a Nico's help out of the last NPC round. Now this was my first try with Legionnaires, and I don't know how they're going to play out as they go forward, but they just seem incredibly strong at this point, and I haven't even 3-starred the Yasuo. My Dango's grown up again, so it's getting big and waddles around, but I want that Deathblade, because I know that's going to make Draven even stronger than before. We grab the Yasuo, we roll a couple of times just to see if we have to use the Nico's help, and we do, so boom, 3-star gold Yasuo on the board, Deathblade onto Raven. You will see very quickly just how powerful this is, even against a very well-stocked team. Keep your eyes on Draven and Yasuo. See how much Yasuo is healing with each attack. I think Legionnaire has a chance to be very strong. I go through and predict that I'm likely to play against this person since I haven't met them in 3 rounds, and position my Callista with that Zephyr to take their Draven off the board, as that's the main part of their team. They seem to be playing Legionnaire as well, with a tank out front. By taking their Draven off the board, my characters are able to really get rolling and ultimately get through them. I guess the Reforger wasn't all for naught, as it certainly worked out well there, because I might not have won, but for taking their Draven off the board. We're into the top 4, and seeing what we're up against, that is a really strong Vel'Koz in the corner, and I'm certainly concerned if a double Rabadon with a Radiant Moramelicon gets a solid attack in, because that is going to make healing very difficult, since the Moramelicon's burn does reduce healing. But see, the Yasuo ult just finishes off Vel'Koz and this entire player. Now something weird happens. I check out to see who wins the other fight, so I know who I'm going up against in the end. And it's the other Legionnaire player. At this point, I don't know why, the game stops, and Rito decides, okay, you've won, victory, yay, it's over, right? I came in first place, there's my Dango just hanging out, having a good time, and so I continue on, but I find out that Rito decided, no, you didn't win. You actually got second. Hope you enjoyed the video and have an awesome day.